Some fights aren't about titles or money. Some fights are personal. Here are 5 of the greatest blood feuds in combat sports history, starting off this countdown at no. 5. We have Ali vs. Frazier. This is perhaps the most famous rivalry in boxing history. This fight was hyped for years before it ever happened. Muhammad Ali was the outspoken champion, and he made it very clear that he despised his former friend and Olympic gold medalist foe. Before the first fight, Ali said, "I hated him with every fiber of my being. There was no pleasure in my life that could have compared with the pleasure I would have got from knocking him out." At one point, Ali even called Frazier an animal, saying he's an animal, a gorilla who bites. Their first fight was in 1971. It was a close fight and many thought that Ali won, but the judges awarded the victory to Frazier. Ali went on to win the next 2 fights. But if you ask any boxing historian, they will tell you that the first fight between these 2 men was one of the greatest of all time, 2011. When asked what was the greatest fight he ever saw, legendary promoter Don King replied, "Frazier Ali. I tell you, those were 2 warriors going at it. No, for Jones vs. Cormier. This one doesn't quite match up to Ali vs. Frazier in terms of trash talk and animosity. But when it comes to sheer hatred, Jones vs. Cormier might be the greatest rivalry in the history of MMA now. If you don't know about this rivalry, let me catch you up. Cormier and Jones both fought for the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship. Cormier defeated Anthony Johnson in 2015 to capture the belt. After holding the title for a year, he was stripped of it after testing positive for a banned substance. Jones then defeated Daniel Cormier at UFC 208 to claim the vacant title. Now, Cormier got his rematch later that year, but he came up short again. In 2017, Daniel Cormier finally got his revenge by defeating Jones via knockout in the 3rd round. The animosity between these 2 has been palpable since their first fight. After beating Jones, Cormier began trash-talking Jones's mother. Things only escalated from there. After their second fight, Jones accused Cormier of using dirty tactics. Cormier responded, "If you have something to say it to my face like a man." Jones replied, "You already know I would destroy you in a striking-based MMA match. You and your whole team are terrified because you know how this ends. Good try, though." Obviously, this feud continued after their second fight. And despite the fact that they competed in different weight classes, these 2 kept calling each other out. After Cormier defeated Volkan Ozdemir in 2019, he turned his attention back to Jones. He said, "What's up, B?" Then he shouted, "Yo, Izzy, you're next." Cormier and Israel Adesanya never fought. But it looks like Cormier's prediction may be coming true as Jones is set to face off against Adesanya for the middleweight title at UFC 281. No. 3 Gatti vs. Ward. This rivalry was pure hatred. It started at the 2003 World Championships. Gatti and Ward were both representing Italy. They met in the semifinals where Gatti was disqualified for hitting Ward below the belt. In the rematch the following year, Ward won again, this time by decision. Both fighters continued to call each other out in the lead-up to their eventual rematch. And when they finally met again in the ring, things did not disappoint. It was a back-and-forth brawl that could have gone either way. Eventually, the fight was stopped in the 11th round because Gatti had a detached retina. In 2007, they finally met again for a rubber match. It was another hard-fought battle that could have gone either way. But this time, Gatti was declared the winner by split decision. Ward got his revenge 3 years later by defeating Gatti by technical knockout in the 10th round. Overall, it was an epic rivalry. The intensity of these fights was unmatched. If you watch any highlights of these fights, you can see that these guys genuinely hated each other. It's one of the only rivalries on this list that has remained dormant because both fighters have retired. No, 2. Hoost vs. Awodi semi-shilt was a force to be reckoned with in K1. During his career, he captured the K1 World Grand Prix Championship, a record for times. However, his dominance was challenged by Ernesto Awodi. Awodi was a force to be reckoned with. In his prime, he was nearly impossible to defeat. In their first fight, Hoost was knocked out in the first round. The rematch didn't fare much better for Hoost. Although the fight went the distance, Awodi was the clear winner. In their third meeting, things got physical. Hoost was knocked out again, but this time it was ruled a no contest because Awodi used illegal knee strikes. Finally, these two met one last time in 1998. It was the final of the UHNHL 1998 King of Kings tournament. After losing the first two meetings, Hoost was determined to make this one count. And he did. In the fourth meeting between these two, Hoost was able to defeat Awatwi by knockout. It was an instant classic. It was the biggest fight in K1 history. Unfortunately, it would be their last. Hoost passed away in 2021 due to complications from COVID. Finally, no one. McGregor vs. Nate Diaz. This rivalry needs no introduction. It is without a doubt the most intense and most bad blood-filled rivalry in the history of the UFC. Their first fight was at UFC 196 in 2016. It was a welterweight bout with Nate Diaz winning by submission in the second round. Their second fight took place 4 months later at UFC 202. It was a rematch that fans had been anticipating. Since their first meeting, once again, the fight went the distance, and this time Conor McGregor was able to get the win by decision. However, despite the outcome, the rivalry was far from over. After the fight, both men continued to call each other out and trash-talk each other on social media. Many fans hoped that these two would run it back for a trilogy bout, but it never happened. Despite the fact that they never fought again, their rivalry remains one of the best in UFC history. Honorable mentions. Couldn't do a list like this without mentioning some other great rivalries. So here are some honorable mentions that could have made the top 5. Chuck Liddell vs. Randy Couture, Tito Ortiz vs. Ken Shamrock, Wayne McGuinness vs. Gary Goodridge, Vitor Belfort vs. Dan Henderson, Fedor Emelianenko vs. Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira, Georges St. Pierre vs. Matt Hughes, Anderson Silva vs. Chael Sonnen, Frankie Edgar vs. Gray Maynard, Demetrius Johnson vs. Henry Cejudo. Now obviously there are many other great rivalries that could have made this list. So be sure to leave a comment down below with your pick for the greatest rivalry in combat sports history. If you enjoyed this video, you'll definitely love the video we did on the 10 greatest knockouts in MMA history.